Hello, Vanessa and Beth. It's Mark here with a very special chance meeting here in Greece with AD Venture, Andrew D. Venture. He is part of the Disney company, Walt Disney Company. He's actually vice president of the Department of Nomenclature for Disney, actually for Disneyland Paris. And it's great to meet you here. Finally, we get to actually talk to an actual Imagineer.
Yes. I've been with Disney for a long time.
Yes.
Right. I've helped them with many of their branding propositions. Right. And then trying to bring a synchronicity, a synergy to unify the parks under the umbrella of adventure.
That's amazing. So what are the kind of jobs that you've worked on so far?
Well, I'll tell you a story. At my daughter Beth's bat mitzvah many years ago, Eddie Soto came to me. He's like, we have a new park. We want to put it next to Disneyland, and we don't know what to name it. And I said, Eddie, my man, California Adventure.
Oh, so that's where that came from.
Yes.
Amazing. And you've also worked, you are actually working at Disneyland Paris now, but what was the first thing that you started doing at Disneyland Paris?
Well, we needed to really unify the park. It was so disjointed, right?
Yes.
So, Adventureland.
Yes.
Right? You get to Adventureland via Adventure Way. Right? You see where I'm going with this?
Yes. Not really.
Look. People want an experience.
Yes.
Walt, God rest his soul, is dead. Walt Disney Way, it's confusing. They wanted adventure. That's what people are paying for. They want to have a good time. They wanted adventure.
So that's why you were changing Walt Disney Studios into Disney Adventure World.
Exactly.
And you go to Adventure Bay via Adventure Way.
Yes. And when you want a romantic stroll, you'll go down Adventure Lane.
But doesn't that kind of create a confusion because there's already Adventureland in the Disneyland park? So, people would be confused by saying, oh, let's meet in Adventure World, where they actually mean Adventureland.
Look, you've got Adventure Circle, you've got Adventure Lane, you've got Adventure Way. Why don't have an Adventure Roundabout, Adventure Paris?
Okay, what are some of the future attraction names that you're thinking of rebranding?
Well, Space Mountain Adventure.
Yes.
Tiana's Big Adventure. The Aladdin Adventure Experience.
So what about the Lion King land then?
Simba's Big Adventure.
And now you're just being silly.
We take our branding very seriously at the Department of Disney Branding Nomenclature.
Okay, well, I think that's all we have time for here in Greece. Thank you so much for talking to us, Mr. A.D. Venture, and it's been nice meeting you.
Pleasure's been mine.
Off you go. So that's it from me, from Greece. Back to you, Beth.
Adventure is out there!
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 198 of the Dedicated to Disneyland Paris podcast, this summer's most refreshing celebration of Disney's coolest theme park.
Mm-hmm. Things have actually been pretty pleasant in the Paris parks these days. Temperatures at the moment are in the 22, 24 degree area so far in July, though things are slated to heat up by the end of the month, and not just because of the Paris Olympics. Perfect time for a quick visit, and if you feel so inclined, a little swim in the Seine, like the Minister of Sports has just done. We're still waiting for Anne Hidalgo to jump in. Any plans to get to the park soon, Beth?
First of all, I want to say I just watched that movie on Netflix, Under Paris, and I don't recommend anybody swim in the Seine because, according to this movie, it's full of giant sharks, people. So, I mean, just caution is advised.
The premise of Sharknado 4 is Sharknado in Paris.
I don't know. It looks like Netflix is one step ahead of the game, and they brought sharks to the Seine. And I think it makes any Paris trip more exciting, a little adrenaline rush.
Well,
Yeah.
it makes sense.
We are coming on strong with the puns this time. That one was not even scripted. I love
People were
this for us.
complaining last time that we didn't do any puns whatsoever. They really missed it. And they're like, I'm not listening to this show anymore. If there are no puns, I'm not doing this.
I mean, if people are crying out for it, what can we do? We're at the mercy of our public. I mean, our popularity depends on it. Yeah,
So,
I mean,
I'm just happy that we were able to do this because I've been going in between jobs and I've been flying to Cyprus on projects that I can't reveal anything about yet. Again, there's some more coming up in August in Athens. Again, I can't talk about them yet, but all very exciting stuff. But yeah, when I thought that this whole summer was going to be relaxing on the beach, it's not. I'm very busy. So I'm just happy that this works so far. It's island connection, internet. We'll just see how this works out. How are you doing over there? Any snow in the mountains?
No, but at least fairly cool temperatures. Sadly, I'm going to be leaving them all behind to cross part of Europe in a moving van on a big
You
trip
are going
up
to
to
northern
Sweden.
climes, yes. Interesting
Yes,
that.
I am. I'll be leaving it
So
behind. It's going to be exciting.
my question is, why are you doing that on four wheels?
Well, because we have a lot of household goods to move up there for one of my daughters. And we also wanted to go up there to see their new house. And it was the most kind of economical and sensible way to get a bunch of things.
Yes, if you're
up
traveling
north.
with a lot of things,
Yeah.
then that does make sense because, of course, the airlines are only giving you 8 kilos to
Yes.
carry, and you can't put a fridge into 8 kilos. So
No.
very nice.
No. I wish I had time to have a little detour over to Disneyland Paris because things do look rather nice this summer. I see they have some deals on right now for Disney Plus subscribers. Did you see that recently?
Yes.
Right
indeed.
now, 20% off for hotels stays with tickets with arrival times before September 30th of 2024.
Before
So
September 30th, right? Yes.
Yeah. So if you have time for a little getaway and you have Disney Plus or have been thinking about getting it, could be the time. 20% off is not bad.
Indeed. Anyway, I think we should proceed because I think we have some news. Is that right?
Yes. Plenty of news. We have World of Frozen, new merch, important dates, park renovations, and even a celebrity sighting.
Oh my God, we have to get into this.
Absolutely.
Do you want me to play the news jingle?
Yes, I love our news jingle.
Here we go.
Okay, now everybody, back in November of 2023, we already covered some of that opening day excitement all around World of Frozen over in Hong Kong Disneyland. And less than 7 months later, June 6th, 2024, Tokyo Disney Resort opened up their Fantasy Springs expansion. And part of that features a rather small but very nice version of a World of Frozen. And all this has really kept the excitement high over the upcoming World of Frozen for us at Walt Disney Studios, also known soon as DAW. Voilà.
DAW, Disney Adventure World. Are we certain that it's going to be called World of Frozen and not Frozen Adventure World?
They could pivot at the last moment. Maybe we can talk to somebody about naming conventions in Disney parks. If
that would be great if we could do that. Yes,
that'd be amazing if we'd work that in.
But wait, do we actually have an opening date to announce to our listeners for the World of Frozen?
We don't have the date, but we do have a date of when a date might be announced.
So today's date is the date that you say the date when Disney might say the date?
Precisely.
Okay.
Every other
Right.
year, the famous D23 fan event is held in the United States. And that's the place where Disney often makes these kind of big announcements, among other things. And I saw recently we got our little press packet about that. And the lineup did look promising, especially I saw Friday, August 9th on the main stage, which is where the big stuff happens,
Yeah.
at 3:45 p.m. There's a presentation slated called Bringing the Worlds of Disney Animation to Life in Disney Parks.
Okay.
Seems reasonable to most folks that we could hope that this could be the time and the place for some kind of announcement of at least a rough opening window for Paris's own world of Frozen.
Or not, because they might just dedicate that whole presentation to Tiana's Bayou Adventure.
Okay, but it's not outside the world of possibility, seeing
Yes.
as how DLP is making progress on construction. I saw DLP Works account on Facebook. That is an absolute treasure trove of updates and photos on all this. And I saw recently they announced the metal sort of mesh framework of that rock work to be the sort of North Mountains of Arendelle.
Yeah.
That is all installed. And the pre-assembled top section of the Arendelle Castle is on site and ready to be hoisted into place when all is ready for that.
Did you
So,
say it's
yeah.
did you say it's installed, or is it all stalled?
I'll leave it up to the listener to decide because I don't want to get blamed
Open-ended.
Exactly. Because if this ends up taking till 2026, I want to have plausible deniability. I will
Tune in 2026 to find out whether it has opened or not yet.
I mean, I don't want to discourage anybody. I'm just going to quickly wrap this up. On August 9th, there may be news of the World of Frozening opening date. We're going to be on high alert. And if anything's announced, we will put out the word on Facebook, on the Instagram, on X, and undoubtedly we'll be talking about it in our August episode.
Which will be episode 200.
Which will be episode 200. That's going to be lit. So the next news item, Mark, what do you have for us?
Well, there's a Frozen adjacent item here. One way to beat the heat during summer visits to DLP, of course, is to enjoy one of the many shows that are happening in lovely, cool, air-conditioned theaters. And attending one of these shows just got a bit easier, though it's going to cost you. On July 10th, 2024, Frozen, a musical invitation, began offering guaranteed access service for guests who don't want to miss out. Like the Lion King Rhythms of the Pride Lands and Mickey and the Magician and Together, a Pixar musical adventure. I didn't realize that it is Pixar musical adventure. Never mind. A limited quantity of guaranteed access slots are available daily for, each performance at 15 euros per person. Initially, only available on the Disneyland Paris mobile app, but I think you can actually, they say, book those via disneylandparis.com or by phone. And that will be from the 1st of August, thereabouts. So Disney has reassured us that the show remains freely accessible. All shows remain freely accessible within, if you've got a ticket to the parks, Walt Disney Studios in this case, subject, of course, to availability. And they wrap up the announcement with this inspiring little bit of information. I'm going to read this to you. Offering guaranteed access, asterisk, to Frozen, a musical invitation is part of our ongoing commitment to offering our guests the opportunity to optimize their experience and plan their day in advance.
Yeah, okay. I suspect they have other ongoing commitments. at play here. Yeah.
Such as commitment to squeezing another 15 euros per person out of park goers in Walt Disney Studios, which is mostly walled off at the moment and not really an appealing place to spend time.
Yeah, that commitment. But I am going to be fair here. That Frozen show is surprisingly popular, and there have been a couple of times I've wanted to go to it and rocked up and not been able to get in because it has been completely full.
Yes.
So I would say if somebody has a little Elsa stan with them, they might want to spring for it, especially if you're a smaller party of people and it's easier to swing financially.
Fair enough. Yes, my love-hate relationship with paying extra to see shows for this time, I guess I'll just have to let it go.
Now, we do have some dates for people that do not involve going to California and crossing your fingers. From November 9th, 2024 to January 6th, 2025, DLP will be making the holidays magical with the return of Disney Enchanted Christmas season, featuring Mickey's Dazzling Christmas Parade, the Let's Sing musical show, Let's Sing Christmas. Sorry, don't want to forget that. And it features the Fab Five. That's over in the Hyperion Theater. And visits with Santa Claus, the big man himself, snow on Main Street several times a day. And it seems the newly reopened Disneyland Hotel is going to be going all out with their royally festive fairy tale Christmas theming. And so you might want to have a peek in there if they allow you in, even if you can't do your whole stay there.
I'm assuming a very big Christmas tree in the lounge area, either in opposite or adjacent to the big staircase. That would be nice. And lots of little fairy lights around there. Could be nice. And one place you won't be able to visit, though, during the Christmas season or Halloween season, or even right now, is the Boardwalk Candy Palace. Imagineers decided that the iconic opening day sweet shop was long due for an overhaul.
How dare they? That shop is perfection personified.
Don't panic, though, because Disney has promised to, and I quote, preserve its original charm.
Well, they better do if they know what's good for them, or I'll have something to say.
Ooh. Sassy Beth. The team plans to rearrange the space, restore the columns, and freshen up the paintings, trimmings, and decorative accessories, plus brand new furniture and artwork will be added to the shop. All this work will take time, so a reopening in 2025 is planned. So if you're looking forward to lollipops and candies and whatever, you'll have to wait.
That's a long time for me not to have any lemon meringue fudge. I always go in there and pick up something. It never gets old. Is it a stop that you like to make? Yeah, I always do.
I never go in there.
That is crazy.
Too much candy
I love
for me.
it.
Too much sugar, and I find sweet, all this melange of sweet smells together a little bit too overwhelming. I like a freshly baked cookie. That smell.
Okay.
But all these like artificial flavorings and smells.
Sacrilege. What are you even saying? La, 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 la. I can't hear you, Mark. It's amazing. I love like the marshmallows, Mickey heads partially dipped in chocolate, but especially like the different flavors of the fudge. And I wouldn't eat a whole block of it myself, but if you're with one or two other people and you get like several different flavors and you can sort of chop them all up and try the peanut butter chocolate and the lemon meringue and, the pistachio or whatever. And it's really fun. It's good. But I don't know, you're probably all healthy and stuff. Good for you, not
I just need to balance this out a little bit, I have to represent the other half of our listeners who are not sugar inclined. Let's put it that way.
But the decor in there is beautiful. I mean, yes, I love taking photographs in there. But seems like they're going
that everybody was crying out for. It's like, oh, we need a refurbishment of the Candy Palace.
I don't think so. I mean, I think it was still looking quite good, but maybe like the eyes of love blinded me to its imperfections, because they specifically talk about restoring the columns. And I think they're talking about the iconic sort of clear plastic columns all filled
Yes.
up with fake candies. And I
Yes.
wonder if those just need to be changed, freshened up. Maybe they need to empty all those candies out and dust in there a little bit. I mean, who
Dust
knows?
and whatever else has got in there over the years.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure we'll benefit from it. And it sounds like they're paying attention not to make it completely sanitized and unrecognizable. And so that's all we can ask.
I thought they were going to turn the Market Deli into a Starbucks. That hasn't materialized, has it?
No, it hasn't. And I would not be against it, although I know there's the for and the against. Yeah.
So
Anyway.
maybe that's where the project budget went instead. So we're not turning that into a
Yeah.
Starbucks. Let's do the candy place. Anyway, what else
Yeah.
is there?
Okay. Well, I can tell you Alice's Curious Labyrinth recently received some love from park maintenance, and I think that was about high time there.
Yeah.
Unlike Candy Palace, that attraction has really been seeming worn, and many of the features have not worked in there for like quite a long time. So we can happily report that there's the return of the sound effects for the small Cheshire Cat and Absalom, the big creepy worm dude. And those animated fountains with the jumping water jets, those have been repainted, which is nice. Though I do sort of wish maybe they'd stuck with the purple color scheme.
Yes, I did see that. They are kind of olive green now. So, which, internet opinion has come down on hard. But maybe they are nicer in person.
Yeah, I think it's probably good to give them a chance. Anything's better than faded and chipped paintwork, right?
Speaking of faded chipping paints, let's talk about Hyperspace Mountain.
Okay, shots fired. I mean, laser cannons fired.
Pew, 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 pew. And I said what I said, but no worries. As DLP is now at long last on the job in Discovery Land, scaffolding and tarps are up around the maintenance bay of the iconic attraction. But there's also a whole discussion about, yes, but it's only for the maintenance bay and they're not actually going to do anything. But I'm not so sure, signaling the possibility that the long talked about conversion back to the classic Space Mountain theme is about to begin. Some teal colored wool, segments were put up at the front of the area at the end of May, but the new installations seem to indicate that work is progressing. The current Star Wars overlay has been in place since 2017, and it would be quite interesting to see the coaster return to its original form, but there is no official word yet on that closure, conversion, or otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, if they went back to that Jules Verne theming De la Terre à la Lune, that would be just amazing, and it would make so much more sense. I know I always go on and on about this, but yeah.
Just for the music alone, that in itself is worth converting back to. And even if they don't take the original theming, at least bring the music back. But yes, I think it goes together. We've talked about this many times. Space Mountain, as it looks now, doesn't make sense being a Star Wars Hyperspace Mountain unless they actually created a Star Wars television series in which our Hyperspace Mountain appears as some kind of palace on some kind of planet, but that hasn't happened so far. So that would be quite interesting, though. It's like a planet in Star Wars where everything was steampunk. I'm sure it could be done.
It could be done. I just wish something would happen, because I feel like our Discovery Land was so lovingly designed and developed with such a specific artistic point of view.
Yes.
And just seeing, the Visionarium turned into Buzz Lightyear, the Space Mountain going all Hyperspace Mountain. It just really takes away from the cohesion of that original vision. And I don't know, it's such a little jewel of a land, isn't it?
It is indeed.
with the
Well, it
submarine off to
was.
one side, and I don't know. It's
We
just,
have Orbitron at least there, and we
yeah,
have the exterior of the Discoveryland Theatre with its Zeppelin and
yeah,
Space
yeah,
Mountain, and don't forget Nautilus. They all
exactly.
stay the same. And there's that lovely rock work where, the water's coming over when you enter the land.
Yeah.
So all of that has stayed the same, but there's no cohesion. But okay, you got to put an IP here and an IP there. But I think a lot of fans have been calling for the moon to be brought back, and we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe at D23. Stay tuned. And this is how we keep the people coming to our podcast, and they keep listening to find out what happens to the Space Mountain. So once they do announce what's happening to Space Mountain, I think that's going to be the end of our podcast.
Yeah, well, gee, I hope we make it to that treasured episode 200.
200. Even if they do announce something, we're not going to tell them about it until the 200th episode. But no.
Yeah, exactly. Because, I'd miss not talking to you like this every couple of weeks, Mark. So we just have to keep going.
Yes.
But I'm sure Disneyland Paris will provide us with plenty of fodder for this show for many years to come, because I don't know what they're thinking sometimes. There's the good, there's the bad.
They just
endless
it's the gift
possibilities.
that keeps on giving. Disneyland Paris.
That's
in many
exactly.
ways. You know what else people like to hear about? That's celebrities. And I think you have an item on this.
That I have just the thing. In celebrities and Disney parks news, Cardi B was spotted last week in Disneyland Paris for the first time in, forever. So just a reminder, she's the very popular American rapper whose music, in my humble opinion, should have been heavily featured in the Back to Wonderland show at DLP.
I hear you. She was robbed. We were robbed for not having Cardi B in Back to Wonderland.
I know, right? Anyway, she flew her family there in style in a private jet to celebrate her younger daughter's 6th birthday. I was surprised to learn the tot's name is Culture with a K, as one does. And the husband's name is Offset, which is also a choice. Maybe he's worked in printing previously.
His real name is Chiari Kendrell Cephas or Kephas. So I can see why they went with a K there.
Yeah, it's very cute. Let's see.
With a K?
With a K. Yes, with a K. Yes, we're sticking with that. Cardi with a C. Her park bag was not a Loungefly. She went with Chanel, a very oversized silver flashy version, reportedly worth more than 11,000 euros, according to Page 6, a U.S. news site, and Billboard magazine. This is where I got all my information. Now, this family seems to be all about the designer goods because they pushed their son, Wave, no K's in that name, around in a 4,500 euro Dior baby stroller. #goals, am I right?
Well, if it's practical, sure, why not?
No. All kidding aside, Cardi B was dressed really sensibly. She had black ballet flats on, not stilettos or something silly like that. And her littlest one looked really cute and comfy, just in a normal t-shirt, shorts, and high-top shoes. And, it was really nice. The stars, they're just like us.
Cute and comfy with K, also two very good names for your children, if you're looking. And I think Cardi, you missed an opportunity there. You could have called your son Wave with a silent K.
Silent K. Wow. There's people propose to be paid for their services naming children. You can ask for a few hundred euros for a few name choices for people. You become a name consultant.
Naming gurus.
Yeah, exactly. And then you wouldn't have to spend so much time traveling around the world doing like photography and filming, and you'd have more time for this podcast, Mark. Huh? So
Yes,
just
but
think about
can I
that.
come up with names better than taking pictures? So yes, we would have to see.
I don't know.
Anyway,
You already seem like a gold mine of wonderful name options. So just think about that. All right. But no, back to the news. Back to the news.
name with a silent K. Finally, to help celebrate the 2024 Olympics in Paris, DLP has launched a new line of merchandise. It includes a baseball cap, water bottle, a Mickey plush, and a pin. They are all sports themed, but are not branded with Olympics name or iconic 5-ring logo, because as I know from having worked at the Athens 2004 Olympic Games, anybody without a license, you're gonna get a lawyer knocking on your door.
But yeah, but I mean, Disney just sticking generic sports on stuff. I mean, okay, some of the characters on that merch, I was looking at the pictures, they do have gold medals on, like, but with like, Disney style D's on them.
Okay.
But I mean, not actually associated with the Paris Olympics. Come on, doesn't
No,
Disney
no.
have that sweet, sweet licensing money? No, no.
Bob Iger is not in any good terms with the International Olympic Committee. It's a missed opportunity because, of course, you could have Disney and the Olympics intertwined, because France really needed a better mascot. And Disney has, to be honest, lots of mascots that they could have lent out. But who
Yeah.
knows? I think the next Olympic Games are in Los Angeles, and that's pretty close to Anaheim. So Disney, if you're listening, again, my consultancy fees are not that high. Neither are Beth's.
Yeah, really. We work real cheap.
But I can't say any more on this because you're going to have to pay for it.
Yeah, that's right. You got to hold back, Mark.
Anyway,
For sure.
it's all about
Yeah.
those licensing fees. They've got to be really steep, and DLP has a whole fictional Scandinavian town to pay for at the moment. So, among other things,
True.
yeah, and a candy conversion.
Yeah, they do have their hands full, but
That sounds
yeah,
like a
that
therapy.
Paris
Candy conversion therapy.
candy conversion that would work on me.
That's a good name for a shop, isn't it?
Yeah, we have so many business ideas.
Oh my God!
We should
They're coming
branch out from just podcasting. I think we could really do
There's
something.
millions in this episode alone.
Yeah, exactly.
We should
I don't
change the tag of this podcast from travel to business advice and moneymaker. Dedicated to moneymaker DLP. No, I see. I've lost it now. I've lost my gift of naming things.
We'll workshop that. Under pressure, it's hard for anybody. But
It is. I'm under so much pressure here.
Yeah. But I mean, you couldn't do any worse than presumably the people who were paid to come up with the Paris Olympics mascot, which it's a pancreas, I think is what it is. I think that's what it is.
If you haven't watched one of our previous episodes on YouTube, look it up. The mascots. Anyway, you're gonna see them if you're watching the Olympic Games. They're gonna appear ad nauseum,
and everybody's gonna ask what it is. And
they should be the ones to form the next French coalition government. There you go. Problem solved.
Yeah. At least it'd keep them off the streets, because these people shouldn't be on the loose, really. I don't know.
Are they going to be swimming in the Seine? That's what.
Well, it's not going to end well from what I saw on that show.
Emily in Paris, throw her in the Seine as well. You're welcome.
Aww.
What? You like that? Okay.
It's kind of cute. At least the
You're
first
American.
couple seasons.
You're American. It's playing right into your kind of cliched view of Paris.
True, but I get
I've offended
extra
you now, haven't
points.
I?
I get extra points because I actually have a French passport since like 30 years. So I'm not a real American. I'm a fake one.
Faux American.
Oh, yeah. See, you're back to naming things again. Think about it. This idea.
Yeah, I like that one. I can do something with that. Listeners, if you have any ideas for names, please send them in, because we're all about names on this podcast here. And it's been a bit quiet in our email box. You haven't been getting in touch. Now, this might be because you haven't had any questions, because we've been answering all of your questions, or you haven't had the money to go and visit DLP for a trip report. You were avoiding it because you've heeded our advice that things are getting quite expensive during the Olympic Games. But you can still send us, any of your ideas. We're happy to read out anything you send to us, as long as it's Disney and DLP related. Well, even if it's not Disney and DLP related, we can still talk about your issues with planting hydrangeas in summer. That's a big issue, of course, because you shouldn't do it in summer. You should do it in spring. We can answer all your gardening queries.
Yeah. So Mark's going to be giving gardening advice, and I guess I can advise you about road trips to Sweden.
To Sweden.
If people want to know the good route to take and which ferry to put their truck on, I can talk to people about that. Yeah.
If you're
so
looking
anyway,
for a nice Indian restaurant in Nicosia in Cyprus, I can give you advice on that as well.
Amazing.
We're really trying hard to fill this episode with content, because we have not been to Disneyland Paris in such a long time.
Well, you know what? I think it's going to be
coming. We have to wait until the 9th of August. Yes, it's going to be okay.
I mean, I've had an easy time with the last few shows because we've had such a full mailbox. The Love Our Listeners section took over the whole show.
Exactly.
And I have to say, I was a little bit sad. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. That's what I want to say. If you don't send us anything to read, you don't get the Love Our Listeners tune.
Yeah, exactly. I thought you were going to pull some like emotional blackmail, and like if you don't write to the Love Our Listeners, you just say like that means you don't love us. And we'll be really sad.
No,
but no, you're just threatening them that they can't hear the cool music.
They can't hear the cool music.
It is
We're withholding that from you.
Yeah. So please write to us, because I got kind of spoiled. I seemed like every show I would have at least a few emails to read out, and it made me feel very warm and fuzzy and happy. So do write to us, and we can also talk, if you have a trip to the Japanese Disney resorts or want to know if that's worth it, we can go back to that subject. I can talk a lot about Disney Cruise Line and some of their news. So even if you're feeling like Disneyland Paris is maybe you're holding out until some of these things reopen, until DAW takes its final form, and Adventure Way Bay and Adventure K and Adventure Say, I don't know, all the adventures are all open. If you want to do something else, we're never against adding a little section of something just Disney adjacent. So think about that. We could bring that up.
The Disney adjacent podcast. Yeah. Yes.
Why not branch out? I've certainly had Disney movies on my mind. I finally watched Wish. Finally, I made myself do it. It took me a long time to recover. The music, The Wish, the movie, the Disney animated feature. It took you a long time to recover
from the movie.
From seeing it to listening to the terrible lyrics. This is not. It was not Disney quality songwriting. I was very disappointed. A very generic.
Got Cardi B again.
absolutely anything would have been better. The music, I just was really just not feeling it. And then I fell down a rabbit hole of watching YouTubers who do music, like that know music theory, or they're musicians themselves. And a lot of them are out there breaking down these songs and saying why they don't work, why they are not of the same caliber as the music we've seen in previous Disney movies.
Yes.
Such as Frozen, which just had blockbuster after blockbuster. And Wish really missed the boat.
Okay, so you need to see Inside Out 2. I have not seen it yet.
I would love
my
to.
My kids have, and apparently that's fantastic. I don't think it's not a musical, so you don't have to worry about lyrics there. But they're teens, and Inside Out 2 is about teens and their emotions, and apparently their favorite character is Ennui.
Nice.
So you'll just have to see. So, yes.
Well, I'd previously heard a lot of bad reviews of Wish, and that's why it took me so long to see it. Conversely, I've heard nothing but praise for Inside Out 2. And yeah, I think I will try to see it. And maybe we could even give a short review of it on our next show. Maybe if we even both manage to see it, although you might be too busy.
Well, no, the problem is that in Greece, they show it mainly in Greek with English subtitles, and there's only a few showings in English. So you have to catch those when they're on, especially here on the island, where there's only one open-air cinema, and there's only a few days that they show it in English. So I missed that because I was in Cyprus. And strangely, where I was staying, there were no cinemas, which is weird.
Okay.
Couldn't find any. So maybe somehow I'll manage to see it and we can discuss it. I would love to do that. We'll do that on the next episode.
Okay.
Even if I haven't seen it, we can still discuss it. And I just pretend like I've seen it.
Okay. That sounds legit, Mark. Good job. Okay.
Quality,
I think that
quality content here. All right. I think we've got to wrap this one up because
I think so. This is just deteriorating at this point. So I am going to see us out. How about that?
Let's do that. Yes.
All right.
I'm giving you the tune.
Okay, everybody. Thank you for listening to the D2DLP.
Now you start.
Thank you for listening to the D2DLP podcast. You can subscribe to the show on all those podcatchers out there. You got your Apple Podcasts. You have Buzzsprout, Podbean, and presumably also Solidcaster, because that's exactly. Okay, if you have a moment, why don't you rate and review our show, because it helps new people find us. And you can follow our posts, get involved on Instagram or Facebook. And you can also view what you are listening to now on the YouTubes. Please send us your questions, remarks, encouragements, trip reviews, anything. We would love to have some mail people. That's at DLP@dedicatedtodlp.com. And you can have a look at our website. Bye.
Bye.
Easy listening for the easy listeners.
And we out.